Hey guys, how's it going? It's Goon here with Goon Alerts, and today I want to talk to you about why I prefer to chart with US dollar Tether over a pair with Bitcoin on any coin or altcoin. And there's a reason behind that. Okay, so when you're pairing a coin with Bitcoin, it's pretty much a comparison. That's the way I view it, of what coin is doing better. So if you have, for example, Litecoin and Bitcoin, and the chart looks like it's going down, it means that your investment would have been better off in Bitcoin than in Litecoin, because you're looking at Litecoin versus Bitcoin, and that value of Litecoin and Satoshis is going down. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the value of Litecoin is going down and that you're losing money. And I'm going to show you the perfect example of why that's the case and why you should start why you should start charting and doing your technical analysis with US dollar or US dollar Tether on whatever platform that you tend to use. So obviously the market has been going up, and there's been a good bull market and bull runs this past week, past 3 or 4 days. And a lot of you found out that Litecoin actually did very well. It was up like 90 to 100%. And some of you were in it and got out of it and went into Bitcoin thinking Bitcoin was going to run a lot higher because of this false illusion that happens when you compare Litecoin and you use the pair Litecoin and Bitcoin. So let me go ahead and show you exactly what I mean, and I'm going to try and make this into a 10-minute video or less. So this is Litecoin paired with Bitcoin. You obviously start to do your technical analysis, and you start to see this ascending triangle. You have your flat top and your higher top and your higher lows. So you obviously, when you're looking at this before anything happens, you're either in the coin and you're hoping for a breakout, or you're going to short it, or you're waiting for it to break out to buy in. So as the chart moves on, you start to see it breaks down. Either you start to short the coin, or you get out of your trade, or your stop loss starts to kick in. If this was live chart and it started to move and this started to break down, this broke down pretty low. I mean, we went all the way down here. Either your stop loss kicked in, you got liquidated, or anything that happened, or you start to think this pattern is gone, and then guess what happens? It was actually never gone. It starts to move up, and then it breaks out, and it performs very well. So what happened here? What happened here is that you're comparing Litecoin to Bitcoin. And in this scenario, in this area here, in this breakdown, when it broke down from the ascending triangle, Bitcoin was performing better than Litecoin. So say this dropped down 5%, that means that Bitcoin was doing 5% better than Litecoin. Obviously there might be differences, but just an overall example. So what happens when you're charting this with its actual value? Why would you be comparing this to Bitcoin? This is just pretty much telling you where your money was better off and where you would have made your most Satoshi. So if this starts to run up, and obviously this is performing better than Bitcoin, Bitcoin might have been going down here, or they're both moving up. It just depends. So how would this pattern look if you were charting it with US dollar Tether? You would have gotten a true value. You would have never gotten scared or scammed out, and you would have noticed that the value of Litecoin had never actually gone down. It was still in that pattern and getting ready to break out. So let's do the same thing again. You're either in this or you're getting ready to make a play. So the chart is moving along. You see this ascending triangle, flat top, higher tops. And as it starts to move up, you either start to buy here because it starts to break out, or you get out of your short, or you stay in your trade, whatever the case is. And Litecoin actually ran up like a lot. It actually, like I said, did 90 to 100%. I mean, this went from like $60 all the way up to $100. So we're talking about almost 100% in gains, maybe 80 or 90. I'm not doing the math right now. But what was the mistake that happened here? A lot of people were looking at Litecoin compared to Bitcoin. They weren't charting it the right way. So, like I said, they were in this chart and it started to break down. They either got out, switched to Bitcoin because it looked like Bitcoin was performing better, or they got stopped out, or they started shorting Litecoin and it actually just broke out and they completely missed it. And they either traded to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin still ran up 30%, but Litecoin actually did close to 100%. So your money would have been way better off in Litecoin, or you would have been into the trade, or you wouldn't have shorted this trade if you were charting it with the right values. So here's the comparison of both the charts, and you can see the difference of when you're comparing Litecoin to Bitcoin versus when you're comparing Litecoin to its true market cap value, a stable coin, in this case, US dollar Tether. This could obviously be done with Australian dollar or anything else. This is important because, to be honest, like, you're not using Bitcoin to pay your bills and to buy your house and your cars and like pay for all these things. You're using US dollar or Australian dollar or any type of fiat that's flat. You could obviously do this with the yen or any place, wherever country that you fiat you have in that country. In my case, it's America, so I use US dollar, and I like US dollar tether. I wouldn't have gotten freaked out if I was charting with US dollar tether. This whole time, when this was breaking down, you could have thought, and most of you thought, Litecoin was going down and it was breaking down. But in reality, it was never moving. The value in the US dollar, what you actually use to buy things and what matters in the freaking company's value, was the same. It was actually still attempting to break out, and it actually broke out, and it did beautiful, and it outperformed the Bitcoin actually. So this is why I prefer to chart with US dollar tether. I don't necessarily mean trade, because I understand there's some coins, for example, like Power, and there's a few other coins that are only paired with Bitcoin. So when you're going to execute it, that's fine. You could go into Bitcoin to buy that coin, but you try to look for that pair against the US dollar, which is usually always out there. I think even like, for example, Power is a coin that is on TradingView. There's a pair with US dollar tether, even though on my exchange, there's no, you can't actually execute it with US dollar tether, but I'm charting it and doing my technical analysis with US dollar tether. One of my other favorite reasons why I like to do this is because if I go into Bitcoin and I buy a coin like Power, I have to buy Bitcoin and then I buy Power. If the whole market starts to collapse and Power starts to go down, so I get out of Power and then I'm in Bitcoin because I use that pair, Bitcoin is still going down, so that's me taking 2 losses in my actual value, what I used to spend in my US dollar value, which is why I don't like using that. I believe there was other questions that people asked me. Let me see if I could find them that I wanted to answer. So let me see. They were talking about volume. Volume is pretty much, sometimes there's more on US dollar tether, sometimes there's not. It kind of just depends. I'll make a better, more in-depth video over this, but that's why I prefer to trade chart with US dollar to Bitcoin. I never ever like to look at any investment that I'm doing comparing it to Bitcoin. The patterns are going to look different. The charting is going to look different. You're going to see a lot of different illusions. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, a lot of people's goals is to gather as much Bitcoin. So they want to like compare Satoshi. But at the end of the day, there could be a huge breakout on like Litecoin. So for example, say like on this side, say this breaks out, or in this case, like it broke down. So you're thinking you're losing money, when in reality, when you sell and you sell into Bitcoin and go back into US dollar, you didn't lose anything. You're still at $60 per coin. So if this was the other way around and it started to break out and this was still flat, you're not making any money. Like, you're still the same. At the end of the day, when you sell into Bitcoin and then your Bitcoin into your fiat. Plus, it's the true market's value. If you're looking at a company and you're trying to invest in it, why are you trying to invest in it compared to Bitcoin? Because you just want it to perform better than Bitcoin? Like, sure, you could catch that breakout, but you're just increasing in Bitcoin, not in fiat, what you actually use. And at the end of the day, with the way I trade, using the US dollar tether, for example, in this Litecoin example, I would have been better off in Litecoin, made more, which I could have bought even more Bitcoin at the end of the day. So if I care about just owning more Bitcoin, this like strategy still helps, because I would have been better off in Litecoin and made even more money, which would have bought me even more Bitcoin. So that's just the way I've always been trading, what I recommend. And believe me when I say you're going to start trading and catching a lot more patterns and being a lot more profitable and consistent if you start doing your technical analysis with any type of fiat or stable coin that you're working with. So I hope that video helps. Let me know how it goes to you guys, and I will catch up with you guys later.